My wife announced, "My ex is coming for our holiday dinner. I need you to be mature about it." I simply nodded and said, "Of course." What she didn't realize was that I had also invited her ex's fiancée. The dinner table quickly became a scene that no one in my family would ever forget. I'm Leo, 30, and I've been married to my wife, Nina, for 3 years. This holiday season was supposed to be just like any other. My parents hosting, my sister and her children creating cheerful chaos, delicious food, and the usual family warmth. That all changed 2 weeks before the holiday, when Nina dropped a bombshell that altered everything. We were in the kitchen on a weeknight. I was preparing dinner while she was scrolling through her phone. Out of the blue, she said, "By the way, I invited Ethan to the holiday dinner at your parents' house." I stopped what I was doing. "Ethan? Your ex, Ethan?" "Yeah," she replied casually, her eyes still glued to her screen. "He's going through a tough patch and has no family nearby." I thought it would be a kind gesture. For context, Ethan is Nina's ex-boyfriend from her university days. They were together for 3 years and broke up about 6 months before Nina and I met. She has always insisted they are just friends, and that their breakup was amicable. I've met Ethan only twice. Once at a summer barbecue a couple of years ago, and once at a fundraiser last year. Both times he was polite but exuded a strange, familiar energy around Nina, as if they shared a private world of inside jokes. "You invited your ex-boyfriend to my family's holiday dinner without even asking me first?" I said, keeping my voice steady. She finally looked up from her phone. "Leo, don't be so insecure. Ethan and I are just friends, that's all. And before you get upset, I already cleared it with your mom, and she said it was perfectly fine." That part stung. She had gone to my mother before even mentioning it to me. "When did you talk to my mom?" "Yesterday. I called to ask if we could bring an extra person and explain the situation." She was completely understanding. I felt my jaw clench. "Nina, that's not the point. You should have discussed it with me first. It's strange to invite an ex to a family holiday." "It's only strange if you make it strange," she retorted, her tone sharpening. "Ethan is having a hard time after a breakup, and I'm just being a good friend. I need you to handle this with maturity." There it was, the "be mature" line, as if I were a child throwing a tantrum rather than a husband whose wife had made a major decision about our holiday plans without his input. "Fine," I said. "He can come," she smiled. "Thank you. I knew you'd understand." I didn't understand at all, but I nodded and returned to my cooking, my mind already racing. Later that night, after Nina had gone to sleep, I did something I'm not proud of, but I don't regret it. I went through her phone. I know, it was an invasion of privacy and a breach of trust, but something felt fundamentally wrong, and I needed to know if my intuition was correct. What I discovered was far worse than I had imagined. Nina and Ethan had been texting constantly for the past 2 months, multiple times a day. While nothing was overtly explicit, the tone was far too intimate. It was filled with inside jokes, remember when messages, and worst of all, her complaining about me. One message from 3 weeks prior made my blood run cold. "I miss what we had. Life was simpler then." Her reply was, "I know. Sometimes I wonder what might have been if we had fought for it." I took screenshots, sent them to myself, and then deleted any trace of my activity. The next day, I did some research. It turned out Ethan hadn't gone through a recent breakup at all. In fact, he had gotten engaged 4 months ago. I found his fiancée's social media profile quite easily. Her name was Maya, and she seemed lovely, with plenty of photos of her and Ethan looking blissfully happy. One photo from just a few weeks ago was captioned, "So grateful for this man and the future we're building together." So, Nina had lied. Ethan wasn't going through a tough patch. And if Maya was unaware that her fiancé was spending a major holiday with his ex-girlfriend, well, that seemed like information she deserved to have. I created a new, anonymous social media account and sent Maya a direct message. I kept it simple and factual. "Hi Maya, you don't know me, but my wife, Nina, is Ethan's ex-girlfriend. She invited him to spend the holiday with our family, and I thought you should be aware, especially since your posts indicate you two are engaged. If you'd like to talk, here is my number." She responded within an hour, and we moved the conversation to text. She had no idea about Ethan's plans. He had told her he was attending a holiday party for a work colleague. Maya was understandably upset, but also grateful that I had reached out. We spoke for about 30 minutes, and by the end of the call, I had invited her to the holiday dinner as well. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Won't that be incredibly awkward?" "Probably," I admitted. "But I'm tired of being lied to, and I think we both deserve to know the truth." She agreed to come. The following week felt normal on the surface. Nina chattered on about holiday plans, what dishes to bring, and even whether we should get a gift for Ethan. That last part almost made me laugh. I just nodded along, playing the part of the mature, understanding husband she expected me to be. On the day of the dinner, Nina was in high spirits, texting Ethan about logistics. I overheard her on the phone with him, confirming his arrival time. She was practically giddy. We arrived at my parents' house, and my mom had prepared a feast. My dad was watching sports, and my sister Qley was busy with her kids. It felt warm and normal, and for a moment, I almost felt guilty about what was about to unfold. Almost. Ethan arrived at 2:15 p.m., bringing a bottle of wine and a charm that instantly won over my mother. Nina's face lit up when he walked in, and she gave him a hug that lingered a few seconds too long. I shook his hand firmly, smiled, and said, "Good to see you, man." "Thanks for having me," he replied. "I really appreciate it." We all settled in the living room. Ethan fit in seamlessly, laughing at my dad's jokes and asking Qley about her kids. Nina kept finding reasons to sit near him, to touch his arm as she laughed. I observed it all with a calmness I didn't feel. At 2:45 p.m., the doorbell rang. "I'll get it," I said, standing up quickly. I opened the door to find Maya, dressed in a festive sweater, holding a bottle of wine, and looking nervous but resolute. "You must be Leo," she said. "Maya," I replied warmly. "Thank you for coming. Please come in." I led her into the living room. The reaction was immediate. Nina's face went white. Ethan shot up from his seat so fast he knocked over his drink. "Maya," he stammered, his voice cracking. "What are you doing here?" "I was invited," Maya said calmly, her eyes meeting mine. "Leo was kind enough to include me when he heard you'd be spending the holiday with your ex-girlfriend." The room fell completely silent. My mom looked utterly confused. My dad muted the TV. Qley's eyes went wide. "Leo," Nina said slowly, getting to her feet. "What is this?" "This is Maya," I said pleasantly. "Ethan's fiancée." "Ethan, I don't believe you told Maya you were spending the holiday with Nina." "And Nina, you forgot to mention to me that Ethan was engaged. So I thought we should all celebrate together. You know, be mature about it." I used her exact words. Ethan looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. "Maya, I can explain." "Explain what?" Maya cut in, her voice now trembling. "Explain why you told me you were at a work party? Explain why you're spending a holiday with your ex and her family without telling me? Explain why Leo had to be the one to inform me of your plans?" "It's not like that," Ethan started. "Then what is it like?" She shot back. Nina turned to me, her face now flushed with anger. "Leo, this is insane. You invited his fiancée just to embarrass me." "I invited her because she deserved to know where her fiancé was," I said calmly. "Just like I deserve to know that you've been texting your ex constantly and telling him you miss what you had." Her face went from red to ghostly pale. "You went through my phone?" "I did," I admitted. "And I found some very interesting conversations. Would you like me to share them with everyone?" My mom finally spoke up. "What on earth is going on?" Qley was now discreetly recording on her phone. I didn't stop her. Ethan tried to approach Maya. "Honey, please, let me explain. Nina and I are just friends. She was going through some things and needed my support." "I wasn't going through anything," Nina snapped at him. "What are you talking about?" And just like that, their web of lies unraveled. Ethan claimed Nina needed support. Nina claimed Ethan was the one in need. Neither story matched, and they were caught. Maya looked at Ethan with pure disgust. "We're done, completely. Don't come home. Don't call me. My brother will pack your things." She then turned to me. "Thank you for telling me the truth. I'm sorry to intrude on your family's holiday, but I'm glad I know." "You are welcome to stay for dinner if you'd like," my mom said quietly, and I loved her for it. Maya shook her head. "I think I should go, but thank you." She left. Ethan stood frozen for a moment before grabbing his coat and following her out without another word. The door closed. Nina stared at me, her face a mixture of fury and humiliation. "I want a divorce," I said before she could speak. "I've already spoken to a lawyer. You can stay with your sister while we sort things out." "Leo," she started. "No," I interrupted. "You brought your ex to my family's holiday. You lied about why. You've been emotionally cheating on me for months and made me feel like I was crazy for being uncomfortable. So, no, we are done." She looked around the room, at my parents, at Qley, at the dinner table set for a holiday now completely ruined, and I watched her realize she had no allies left. She grabbed her purse and left without a word. The holiday dinner was tense, but we managed. My mom apologized for not questioning Nina's story, and my dad said I handled it perfectly. Qley informed me the video was already making the rounds in our family group chat, with everyone firmly on my side. I stayed at my parents' that night. Nina sent me 17 texts, ranging from angry to pleading. I replied to only one. Talk to my lawyer. A week later, I met with my lawyer, armed with the screenshots and financial documents. Nina had moved in with her sister and tried to get mutual friends to persuade me to reconsider, but most sided with me after hearing the full story. Maya reached out to thank me again, confirming her engagement was off. She said Ethan tried to claim nothing physical happened, but the emotional affair was betrayal enough. She had dodged a bullet, and so had I. It's been 2 months. The divorce is proceeding smoothly. We're selling our apartment, with the assets split 60-40 in my favor. I've been staying with my parents, enjoying the family time. Nina sent a long email apologizing, admitting she made terrible choices. She asked if we could one day be friends. I didn't reply. Maya and I got coffee last week. Not a date, just 2 people sharing notes on a similar experience. She's doing well and thanked me again, saying I saved her from marrying a man who would have always chosen his ex. As for me, I'm doing okay. Some days are tough, but I don't miss being married to someone who didn't respect me. My family jokes that I won the holiday, and my dad even said, "Son, that was the most interesting holiday we've ever had. Well done." Coming from him, that's a standing ovation.